Jamendo.com.
What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Tacoma Tactical. Today we're going to be installing the MBRP catback turn down exhaust. So we'll do a sound test with both the stock and the aftermarket exhaust. We'll rev up to 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 RPMs. That way you guys can hear the difference between the stock and the aftermarket exhaust. It's a fairly installation with 2 bolts and 2 nuts, 3 exhaust hangers, 1, 2, and 3, and the stock exhaust should drop out. As you can see, I've just connected the muffler, or unbolted the muffler from the upstream Y pipe. It was these 2 bolts, and I used an impact gun with a 14mm socket. You can probably do it by hand, but my Tacoma's a 2017. Pardon my dog, she's having some fun with her squeaky. You can use a regular wrench with a 14mm socket. I used an impact socket, but if your vehicle's older than a year old, you're probably going to have some rusted on bolts. If you have an impact gun, or if you don't, I mean, you can go to Harbor Freight and pick one up for fairly cheap, and it'll get the job done. So as you guys can see, the exhaust system, or the catback and the muffler, rest of the exhaust is out. I did use a regular pry bar to get it out. You can pick up an exhaust hanger removal tool. I don't know exactly where. It should make the job a little easier. However, I didn't have much trouble with this. There are a couple of holes you can find on the frame, and it's pretty easy to pry the exhaust hangers off. I'm sorry that I'm not filming the whole kind of installation of the exhaust, as I don't have anybody else to hold the camera and help me with all that. So hopefully in future videos I'll have a mount or a tripod or some sort of deal that'll help me with this. Now, normally this is a one-size-fits-all exhaust for Gen 3 Toyota Tacomas. However, I do have an access cab, so I have a 127.4-inch wheelbase, which means, according to the directions, I have to remove 13 1/4 from the flanged pipe that comes off the Y pipe. Basic cutting wheel will do it. Shouldn't take too much work. So as soon as I'm done, I will get this mounted up. Alright, we've got our mark at 13 1/4. That's a lot of pipe to remove, but at least it gives us some excess material for future projects, or I don't know. But just a heads up too, this is a California carb compliant. I do live in the state of California, so unfortunately I don't get to have as much fun as others do with their modifications. But the price on this, I got it from 4-Wheel Parts, $269. I've heard mixed reviews on it. Some people don't like them because they hear excessive exhaust sound in the cab of the vehicle. Some say that it just kind of has like a monotone hum to it. I'm not too worried about that, as I've never really had an issue with the sound of exhaust. To me, it makes driving my vehicle a little bit more enjoyable. I think that varies from person to person. So the price point can't really be beat. I don't really think I'm going to see any performance gains. This really is just for overlanding, kind of trail riding. I didn't want to have my exhaust come out behind the back tire due to the fact that I might, slip off and hit a boulder, crush the exhaust tip, shoot a rock out, dent the exhaust tip. So this really is just kind of a mid-frame exhaust while still being smog and carb compliant in California. There is also a similar exhaust. I'll get the part number for that. I'll add it into this video. I'll add both the downturned exhaust as well as the other exhaust for references, and you guys can choose from there. I will be shooting a video later on just so you can kind of hear the excess cab noise if there is any. Maybe if it's too much, I might add some noise deadening kind of paneling on the inside, but we'll see. For now though, we'll go ahead and cut that piece of excess pipe off, and we'll go ahead and get it mounted up. And there it is, the MBRP catback turn down exhaust. Had it installed in maybe less than an hour. If you do have a 127.4-inch wheelbase, you are going to have to cut off 13 1/4 inches off of your downstream pipe that feeds into the muffler. These nuts right here are 14mm. So the only tools you'll need are an impact gun or a long breaker bar, 14mm impact socket preferably, or a 14mm socket, and a pry bar to pull off the exhaust hangers or the actual exhaust hanger removal tool. It feels pretty snug. I do like the quality of it. So let's go ahead and give it a sound check. And I'll at the end of the video I will put the side-by-side sound comparison. Alright, well thank you guys for coming by and checking out this video. Stay tuned for other videos. We will be installing the Overland Expedition fuse box base plate, and I'll be rewiring my ditch lights as well as a hood scoop light that I have. And also, we'll be installing these Tiger Auto body armor rock sliders. Not a big fan of the way they mount, but we'll be modifying and adjusting those later.